Hi, everyone. My name is Victor. Welcome to AllERCDev. It's a regular meeting, hopefully to bring ERC authors, the app developers, and everyone who's interested in building this ecosystem together to increase collaboration, to hope move the smart contract forward, and to advance open standardization. This is the second one, and we're trying to do this in a rotating approach, which in every 2 weeks we will have a meeting, and which being one of it to be Asian US time friendly, and the other one to be European US time friendly. And we are very, very happy to have a very rich agenda today. We are by the way, this event, this regular meeting is highly inspired by AllERCDev, which is, I believe, happening right now, and also the AllWalletDev, which is initiated and founded by Sam, who's also with us today. And the first part of it, of today's agenda, would be a spotlight speech, which Sam is going to give, and I invited him to talk about wallet test framework, spells as WTF. I think it's an interesting name. I also think it's a very, very interesting approach where there's so many different wallets and so many different implementations and smart contract depending on wallets. So having an effort coming in for wallet, both the smart contract version and non-smart contract version is interesting. So with that, I want to hand over to Sam. And thank you, Sam, for coming to give us this talk.
Hey.
And you can feel free, you can feel free to turn on or just keep your camera shot. It's okay. Yeah, we're very casual.
Perfect. I cannot share my screen, unfortunately.
Let me make sure you can share the screen. Can you try now?
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So here to talk about Wallet Test Framework. It's a little thing that we've been building with some support from the EF. It's a collection of tests for Ethereum wallets and the tools to support them. So this will probably look familiar to any of the old school web developers here, if there are any. If not, the ACID3 tests were a collection of tests that were put together back in the day to ensure cross-browser compatibility, and WTF is kind of our version of that for wallets. We want to build a tool and collection of tests that ensure that wallets all work the same way for their users, and that dApp developers can be reasonably confident that all of your dApps will work with every wallet. So these are the people behind it. There's me, there's my Twitter, there's my Mastodon, and Nikki is also working on this with me. They couldn't make it today, but they're the one working on most of the tests. So what are the goals? Let me just get this out of the way here. There we go. Okay, so I went over this a little bit, but the main goal is to provide a common set of tests that's available to all wallets to test their basic features. So this includes things like the ETH_RPC methods, sending transactions, receiving funds, subscribing to logs, all of the things that you can normally do with the Ethereum RPC. That's what we're going to be testing first. We also want to make these tests available to anybody with a wallet to try. So we have there's two ways to run the tests. There's an automated way and a manual way. And the manual way, you just go to a website, and the website tells you what to click on in your wallet, and then it can test your wallet without any support. So this works for any wallet out of the box. Well, it will work for any wallet out of the box. Let me not get ahead of myself there. Yeah, we want to improve the user experience of wallets by making them more consistent. So this is kind of the motivation behind it. Some wallets, for example, used to send a transaction when you called sign transaction, and there's a lot of little inconsistencies that are out there. So uh, Wallet Test Framework is designed to help reduce those inconsistencies and make everything easier for wallets and their users. We also want to improve the standardization process. So I come from the EIP editing world where a lot of people write a lot of standards. And one of the biggest problems with writing standards is testing to see if an implementation is compliant. So if we have a standard test framework, it makes it much easier to write standards for wallets to implement because you can also test that the implementations are compliant. So those are kind of the big goals that we're trying to accomplish. We have about a year to do it. We have the basic test framework written, and I'll be able to give you a demo shortly about that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the technologies behind it. So the whole thing's written in TypeScript. I am not a TypeScript developer, but this is what a lot of wallets are written in, so we wanted to make it as friendly for wallets to contribute to. We use Ganache, the fake blockchain, so that runs in your browser. This doesn't use mainnet, everything's isolated, and it lets us do really interesting things like controlling forks and block timestamps and all the fun stuff you need to test wallets. Obviously, we use Solidity, and we're in the process of migrating to the VM library for handling and interacting with the wallet itself. Yeah, so pretty much time for a demo. Any questions
Wow,
before I get into that?
that's awesome. Looking forward to the demo. And anyone, this is intended to be a synchronized comment. So if you have comments, questions, feel free to just say it. Yeah. Otherwise, you can go forward with Sam.
Yeah, please interrupt me. All right, so we have it's not exactly public yet because it's not perfect, but we do have a public-facing Heroku app that you can try this out on. It's a perfectly normal dApp in quotation marks, where you connect like a normal wallet and it adds a test chain to your wallet. Every time your wallet asks you something, this is the manual part, by the way. This is automatable. We just haven't written that part yet. But as long as we're on the manual stuff, every time your wallet pops up, you click which event the wallet is generating. So in this case, it's an add Ethereum chain. You fill out the little form here. So chain ID, chain name, and the RPC URL. And then if you see over here, the dApp tells you what to click inside of your wallet. So in this case, it's saying approve the request. So we're going to approve that request. We're going to hit complete. And now we're actually running the tests. So this goes through, it's using Mocha in the back end to generate these little nice reports. And it's, in this case, returns the mine block. It sends a transaction through the wall, through the blockchain, mines the block, and then checks if the wallet returns the same block when you look it up by hash. And there are going to be tests that require more interaction. We're just focusing on the non-interactive ones for now because they're a little bit easier to get started with. But yeah, so every one of these goes through and uses the fake blockchain, asks the wallet for some information, and then checks it against what the fake blockchain reports. And that's pretty much the whole structure of it.
What's the chain ID? What's the chain ID that you use for this
it's
fake wallet
randomly
testing?
generated.
Oh, it's randomly generated. Oh, you're
Yep.
starting to use random generation now. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so some wallets like MetaMask will cache the latest block and the nonce of accounts per chain. So you have to go in and hit a developer option to clear that. So instead of dealing with it, we just generate a random chain ID in the upper half of the 32-bit integer, and then yeah, just use somewhere in there.
That's a good use case because I happen to also be on the author list of an EIP which is trying to spell out the explicit boundary of chain ID. There was a discussion whether chain ID should be deemed to 256 bits or just 32 bits or 64 bits so that it can fit in the regular computer. I would assume if you're using random here in this case, it would be 60 bits in the boundary.
So for this one, I think I
It's a
literally just
number,
take I just take
math, fake number, fake
math.random,
math.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's deemed it to be less than, I think, 64 bits, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not
Not sure.
particularly like trying to be cryptographically secure about it. If it fails, you can just try again. um, yeah, so
That's
you actually
awesome.
end up getting decently good reports with back traces, and yeah, that's pretty much the whole demo. Yeah, so let me just flip back over here. I have a couple links if anybody's interested in following along. We have our blog at wtf.allwallet.dev. We have our source code on GitHub, wallet test framework/framework. And if you want to join our Discord or follow along with the development there, it's all available on allwallet.dev. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. So thanks for coming out and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Sam. This is awesome. Can you share the slide link so that if people want to check, they could? I think you're muted.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I look forward to it. Alrighty. Thanks, Sam. I couldn't be more excited about this. I'm a big fan of open standardization, and then having a way, and especially a scalable way, to test and check whether certain implementation matches or complying with certain standard is a big advancement. And we see that play out in CSS, in JavaScript, in basically in a lot of open web scenario. And then we're just taking that to the new height. Sam is taking that, and the WTF effort is just taking that to a new height. And I can't wait to see those reports and listing all the wallet and give them a little bit nudge and incentive to be more compliant. And yeah, so I am super excited about this. Thanks for sharing, Sam, and go this effort. I love this. Okay. And also we're right about time for the first feature talk, and then this is the agenda today. We have to sign up for demo, and then we can go for that with first. And then we'll also do the ERC peer review request, which we have 2 of them today as well. And then we can always have more demos or requests and when after this already scheduled agenda. So let me check if Peter is here today for the HexLink demo. Seems like Peter's not. I am going to ping him. And in the meanwhile, I think the good news is Kames, one of my favorite projects as well. Kames is here. And I do believe that Kames project Turbo ETH and among others would be a big push for all the app. And so I'm personally using that. Kudos to him. And I also briefly encountered him in East Denver. So very happy to see you. Cam, Cam's go ahead and share the Turbo ETH and anything you want. And then if you can keep it under 5 minutes would be great.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to share the tech with people who care and are interested. So yeah, I appreciate that. Cool. Let me open up the screen share. I got a lot of windows open. Cool. Can you guys see the Turbo ETH website? Is that showing up?
It is.
Cool. Perfect. So I guess I'll provide a little context around why I built this, what's kind of the focus. So I've been in this space at almost 6-7 years now. I've worked everywhere from consensus to pool together and did identity and all this stuff. And so for me as kind of an app builder and someone who's been tinkering for a long time with a lot of the different protocols and what's out there, I noticed there was something missing in terms of how do you bring together integrations for these different protocols, whether it's identity or authentication or threshold cryptography. And so I started TurboETH to kind of scratch that itch. So, you know, for those who are familiar with, like, say, Scaffold ETH or Next or some of these other templates, where it's really about kind of like building from scratch, right? Like Scaffold ETH really focuses on building a smart contract, where TurboETH takes a different kind of approach. And so I'm going to go ahead and just like open up this integrations menu to show off kind of what are the integrations we have right now, and then I'll dive into how some of that works. But as of today, TurboETH is really about helping developers who want to basically experiment and tinker with a lot of the different tech that's available within Web3. So we have everything from Disco identity. I have lit protocol enabled. We have pool together, you know, DeFi, sign in with Ethereum, ERC20, right? So it's a mixture of these tools. So you can come to TurboETH, turboeth.xyz. You can test some of these out. So I'll do a quick demonstration. I'm already logged in, so we don't have to log in. But like, for example, this Disco integration, what this does is, you know, you only have to pop in an API key, and then what it's going to do, it's going to go fetch your decentralized identity. You know, here's my DID document, and here are some of, you know, my credentials that are related to my account. I have a lot of GMs, I think over 50 GMs. So that's been cool. You know, another interesting example is lit protocol. So what we can do is there's a pretty basic integration that shows you how to have access controls and conditions, right? So you can set this up. Let me see if I'll just copy, you know, my account real quick, right? So I can put in an address, I can save that, and then I can see the access controls that are going to be built. I can say hi, encrypted message, and then encrypt, right? And I'm now encrypting that for myself, and I can sign that, and that's controlled by lit protocol. I'll skip that for now. You know, another one I think is pool together. We have, you know, integrations, and it allows you to deposit and withdraw. But I want to talk a little bit about like our approach, right? So as developers, we like to, you know, have things modular, they're composed, can easily be shared. So a little bit of what we're doing within this repo, this is, you know, obviously the repo on GitHub, TurboETH template Web3 app. But if I go into this integrations folder and I go then into, or the branch, and then this folder, what we've attempted to do is co-locate a lot of these integrations. So instead of an application having, you know, intermixing kind of all these protocols, developers can come here and pick and choose kind of what they want to bring into their app. So for example, the ERC20 integration has all the components, ABIs. It even has a custom WAGMI config. So if you run the WAGMI CLI, you can auto-generate your React hooks. So we're, you know, really what this repo attempts to do is simplify if developers want to share code, share snippets, whether it's smart contracts or identity, or kind of anything in between. And you know, the goal I think is really just to help devs kind of, you know, start these new projects. Right now, you know, over 26 forks, you know, 157 stars, and just continuing to grow. So yeah, that's the gist. I mean, obviously love if, you know, if you guys are building demo apps and you want something that I think is a little more like fleshed out in terms of it's got the latest WAGMI, or we're going to update to V1, I think this weekend, you know, Rainbow Kit, a few nice UI components. Hopefully it helps you kind of, you know, build out your prototypes. But yeah, check it out, TurboETH. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to ping me, reach out, Twitter or Discord or wherever it is. So anyways, that's the presentation. Thanks for giving me a chance to shill you guys. I appreciate it, Victor, for the invite, and happy to answer any questions as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this as well. I think this is like so much lower barrier for building a D app. I started using it, and then it works wonderful, great. And then if do you want to tell people if they want to contribute, or if they want to reach out and say, hey, we have this awesome platform, like we are the next lit protocol, whatever, how to contact you, how to convince the community to adopt them and put them into a TurboETH?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the best you know way is to join the Discord, right? So so a couple things. Like one, feel free to just open up an issue on this template. You know, we use the issues for very actively, you know, curating bounties and integrations. I think we have over 10 integrations bounties so far. So if you do want to see your project integrated, make a ticket, we'll put some OP tokens behind it and we'll get you integrated. But if you want to kind of join the community, and a lot of these tickets, I have a link to the Turbo ETH Discord. So you can just hop in here. We have almost 80 people now. People are helping each other. We give feedback. So if you want to join the community, that's kind of the best way.
Yeah, this is a super valuable community. A lot of people are helping out there, so it's a good place to learn as well. I really love this, Kames. Every once in a while, I look forward to see new integrations or new demos on this. I can't wait to see it. And then also maybe one time you can come over and have a longer time to share with us like why you even started this. What's your long-term vision in terms of where it goes in the future?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. You're right. Just to touch on that briefly, like the long-term vision is, we need more devs in this space. And I think that just makes it lower barriers, right? And I think for me, the front end is a great way to do that. And it's all about that. But I'd be happy to hop on again and kind of share that vision at some point.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. This is what we really want to see. And then hopefully that can advance the app. We're building with really open web and then things like that, including what Kim shared, Turbo ETH, and then also the wallet test framework, just make it so much easier to comply, to interoperate. And this is why we want to have this effort.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And again, thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Thank you, James. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Cool.
It's cool. And with that, we're going to the next. And then I think we will have two ERC requests for comments. I think the first one was signed up by Francesco Sulo. Francesco, are you there? Okay, I think at least George Zhang team is here. So we can go with George and Davis, who are here to share with us the social recovery interface. So this is, by the way, a ERC draft. So I think the intention is to share with people what you think and how you draft it, and then maybe introduce the key design decisions that you made. The community, the group of people who have different background, but mostly surrounding building the app or providing infrastructure for the app or providing infrastructure for smart contracts, will be able to give you their feedback. And we intend to make it very, very peer review. So every feedback is welcome. And also the authors are the driver, so they will make their own decision on whether to take that or not. But we want to trigger and invoke more conversation. So with that, we'll be welcoming I think the team for ERC, assuming going to be 70993. And then if you could keep it under 5 minutes for the presentation.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, George.
Hey,
good to see you.
Hey, Victor. Good to see you again. So here I'm actually going to give a brief overview of the ERCs, and so I guess some of my teammates might be able to delve a little bit deeper into some of the specific technical decisions that comes to designs. So for this CIP, we are actually just trying to abstract away some of the works we're kind of doing for ourselves. So like when building a smart contract wallets, and specifically one of the main reasons why people want to build smart contract wallet is because it enables different kind of recovery mechanisms to make it actually easier for people to kind of own and control their wallets. And so in this proposal, we are trying to standardize and abstract away a pretty general interface for social recoveries running on smart contract wallets. And we're just kind of defining a set of interface together with kind of how to use them and what we think is a pretty general social recovery process and for smart contracts. And specifically in this proposals, so we're just kind of discussing so the specific interface we're kind of proposing. And okay, so am I supposed to? Let's see.
It's okay. Yeah. So I think it would be easier for people to look at the screen and try to understand what you say. But I could also pull up my presentation. I can present it if you want me to. It's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I think it might be a better idea. Yeah, let me share my
Sounds
screen.
awesome.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, will people be able to see this?
Not yet.
Oh,
Let me stop sharing from my side, and then okay,
Oh.
yeah, I think I can see yours.
oh, it's working, right?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, sweet. So actually, I think I'm gonna share the link. So essentially, this is the ERC proposals, and so we're kind of just abstracting away some of the key components for what we think for the social recovery process, identities, guardian permission verifiers, recovery policy verifiers, recovery accounts. So the identity here essentially is just kind of anything that's would be able to signs and web proof authorize with their signatures, and so we're kind of just designing it to be pretty general to be able to accommodate a wide range of potential identities. And we also like design the guardian permission verifiers essentially to be an interface for part of the logic that essentially defines what exactly is the process for us to verify the permission from the guardians. And for the recovery policies, it's mostly trying to set things like time blocks, different weights from different you are trying to assign to different guardians. It's kind of pretty common ways of verifying policies for different guardians when doing social recovery. For example, like you could have multiple guardians, and you can kind of assign different weights to them. And when the sum of the weights achieve a certain threshold, you're going to recover the account. On the recovery account, it's just kind of interface we're kind of assigning for the smart contract wallet account itself. So it's kind of interface for the entire account, and it's going to include some of the logics there. So below is just kind of more specific kind of interfaces we're kind of defining for the specific 4 components we talked about. And so in the proposal, we also kind of have a specific workflow walkthroughs of like an example we implemented. We're kind of trying to demonstrate with the specific interface and how each part of the interface are used. But I think like for the purpose of understanding like this diagram probably kind of helps to just kind of give an idea about like how each piece is kind of used, right? So for like, of course, like here you can just kind of update guardians on the top when you're trying to add like different guardians with different like recovery policies to your accounts. But for the specific recovery process itself, like when you're starting a recoveries, so you're kind of doing essentially going through 3 steps. First, you're kind of just trying to verifying that you are actually having the permissions from all the guardians you set up in your recovery policies, and trying to generate the message hash 712 compatible message hash, and you're sequentially verifying the signatures from each guardians to show that you actually have the permissions. And then like you're going to verify that you actually based on like this specific recovery policies you set up. So this is going to include things like, for example, different weights, different threshold for different guardians, and things like time lock features, things like time lock. And so the idea here is that if according to the policy, the specific set of permissions you submitted actually meets policy's requirements to actually successfully recover the accounts, and then like then whoever is kind of handling the recovery, for example, the relayers will be able to then finally execute the recovery to replace the owner of the account to your new designated account. So we're just kind of trying to abstract away some of them pretty common pieces in social recovery, trying to make it pretty generals, so that like wallets can just kind of trying to design it to fit the interface, and the interface will be able to accommodate different kind of recovery mechanisms and guardians they want to set up, and people will be able to customize it to their need without changing the smart wallet contract itself. Yeah.
That's cool. And then you're applying for ERC 712 signed data type data signature signing, right?
Yes, actually, we actually have some have examples about like how one of the signatures are gonna look like. Yeah.
I see.
Mm.
That's interesting. Cool. Yeah, any comments, any feedback from the community, from the audience? I think this is a very important user experience gap from the ideal future versus today's state of Ethereum and state of the crypto. So I applaud for George and the team's efforts for this. Yeah, any feedback for them?
Yeah, so this is kind of our first EIP proposal, so everything is pretty new. Probably like made a whole bunch of mistakes along the way. So any kind of feedbacks to how to, improve the proposal and make it fits the community's sort of demand and need. Yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I can come up with is that have you looked into the ERC 6066? Which is basically a extending version of ERC 1271. And then that allows you to assign a token ID or a bytes 32 for signing. For ask, like if you use 1271, you understand this, like you're asking a contract whether a signature applied is authenticated towards that contract. And basically ERC 6066 is adding a token ID, so you can ask the contract with the token ID and ask if this token ID of that contract verifies that authenticated with your signature. So the use case would be, hey, if you want to have social recovery with people who hold certain NFTs, then they can say, hey, I am gonna authenticate myself with the NFT holding under this token ID. And so, yeah, that can be helped. For example, if you like a board of a company to social recover a company's treasury account, then it can be tied to the NFT holding of a company, of the board seats, things like that. So that's one thing you can look into. And then by all means, it's your ERC, so you make the technical decisions. Everyone else is just giving you the opinion and the suggestions. And then your goal is as much as possible to adopt yours and use yours. And then, but making technical decision is all in your hand.
I see. And what's the specific? What's the exact like numbers for the
6066? If I understand, if I remember correctly, it's 6066.
I see. That sounds perfect. Yeah, I think that's going to be like a great, choice to use like when the Guardian type is actually, kind of NFTs. I think it's definitely going to be a more suitable format. Yeah, for in that specific like Guardian type, when trying to verify the permission. Thanks a lot for the suggestion.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the presentation. And then you can always find George and the authors of this ERC on the EIP on the draft. And so feel free to leave your comments there as well. This is awesome. And yeah, Kims, thank you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing. And with that, we can move forward to Peter, who is here to share with us the Hex link. I think Peter is up. So Peter, if you could keep it under 5 minutes, would be great.
Hi, everyone. My name is Peter. Happy to be here to share with you all our new Hex link demo. I can share my screen for a little bit. Let me bring up the window first. Yeah, so basically I can give a little introduction about what HexLink is. So basically the demo is demonstrate how a new user can utilizing can just receive cryptos or NFTs directly with their setup to get a address first. So the demo gonna demonstrate how you can just receive a crypto first instead of you have to get a crypto address first to receive tokens. So for here, I can input my crypto email. And as you can see, I don't need to log in or anything to just to show my assets on crypto. And if I want to send the crypto to somebody with to send to my friends, I don't need to know their crypto address. I can just simply type in their email address. For example, right here, I can just put in my another email. And I can just input the amount.
Which GEs, by the way? What does it represent? Gethys?
GEs is represent the Goerli testnet.
Goerli's.
Yes, currently we're still on Goerli, but we're going to move to the mainnet next week. And here what happened is I will receive a one OTP code in my email, which I can input it here. 956280. And I can click verify. What happened in the background is the bundler. Oh, by the way, I can show you guys the address that sent this transaction is a account abstraction compatible smart contract account. And this transaction is compiled by the bundler right now. Oh, as you can see, it worked. And if I can show you guys the email, on the other hand, Peter, the receiver email, they should get a, as you can see, they will receive an email saying they just received some GETH to receive some tokens. And if you send other ERC20 tokens, it will show this guy just received some ERC20 tokens. And if we go back here and we type in the address we just, and as you can see, there were some tokens just deposited into this account. So basically what happened in the background is the technical part is powered by EIP 4972. Basically, we can derive a on-chain smart contract account address directly from a user's email address. So that enables that the user does not need to require to have a on-chain address first, which means their email can be calculated into a on-chain smart contract account address that can be used to receive cryptos. And yeah, thank you. Here's all for the Hexlink demo.
Thank you. This is awesome. I'm really a big fan of this approach. I think it just reduces the gap for entry barrier. And then for anyone who is drafting ERCs or anyone who's building the app and smart contracts, I think it would be good to ask yourself, how can we make it one step easier for the user? And then taking into account that they might be holding email address, or they may be holding smart contract wallets, or they might be holding Hexlink identity. So and feel free. Any comments and questions for Peter before we roll to the next agenda? Nope. Okay. Thanks, Peter. I think this is great. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also I think we're done with all already existing agenda. There's an agenda, a hidden agenda that was not on the issue. Prem, are you still there? Is a ENS main developer, core to the ENS ecosystem. I'm very happy that we run into each other on East Denver. Got a lot of question answered. He's great. So Frame, I think, mentioned that he has interest in sharing something new idea about, I think, subdomains, right? these infrastructure supporting supplements. So Prem, this is your time. Take it over here. If you can, keep it under 5 minutes, and then we can, ask for comments and feedbacks as well. Yeah, look forward to it.
Okay, just to be completely transparent, I wasn't fully prepared, but at the same time, I am working hard on a project. And I do plan at some point to author an EIP. So this is just really a good opportunity for me to just be here. Thank you, Victor, for telling me about it and inviting me. And I'm not exactly sure what I would share exactly. So maybe I can just talk briefly about our project. I'm a community member of the ENS DAO. And that means I'm not on the ENS Labs team. So I come at it from the open source perspective. And I got involved over a year ago in the protocol by reviewing the name wrapper smart contract, which is the new feature set that's been rolled out for ENS protocol. And I was able to contribute some features and find a few bugs along the way. And one of the features that I wanted to get into the name wrapper protocol was the idea of unruggable rentals. So rentals of subnames becomes a problem if the owner of the parent name. So when we're talking about subnames, we're talking about, let's say something like web.eth. So if you want to have your name.web.eth as a subname of web, that can actually now be what's called emancipated, meaning given to an additional subname owner outright, so that the parent name can't take it back. And that's one of the new features of the name wrapper smart contract that ENS protocol has rolled out, the idea of emancipating these subnames. That creates a huge amount of potential for communities to build independent naming under their name. So imagine bankless.eth, or imagine, there's also cbd.id, which is slightly different because it's a .id. But it's being used as an identity layer, as a wallet naming for Coinbase. But under the .eth, which is what I'm particularly focused on, you can actually build these sub communities under these names, and people can own them as outright NFTs that they own. But there's a problem, is if you allow the subname to be owned outright indefinitely forever, then you have a degrading of the namespace. So the namespace, people will get the names, they'll forget about the names, they'll pile up in an old wallet, they'll lose the keys to the wallet. All of a sudden you lose the name to the namespace. So that's the reason why ENS decided at some point to switch from a perpetual ownership of .eth names to rental. It's $5 a year for most names. So in order to create this feature, we needed to find a way for basically anybody to rent these subnames, be the renters of subnames, without controlling the rental price. See, if they control the rental price, then all of a sudden they become, the subnames become ruggable, meaning that anybody can take back the name by arbitrarily raising the rental price. So if you raise the rental price to thousands of dollars, then all of a sudden you basically get the name back as the parent name. So what ended up happening is we created unruggable names, and that's what we're building now, unruggable names, and that extends the capability of the name wrapper smart contract with what we call the subname wrapper. Subname wrapper creates a connection between the renewal price and the owner of the subname that is independent of the parent name. And so this concept started to build into what I'm calling unruggable protocol. An unruggable protocol is basically kind of like an Oracle service, but it features much more the idea of the data that we need to depend on and who maintains that data. So in this case, it's the $5 renewal price, which is our first unruggable protocol. We're calling books. The first book we're creating is called the $5 price. The $5 price is tied to the ENS DAO's $5 renewal price. So it's a little bit complicated. And again, I'll have to be much more prepared next time, but that's a little bit of the overview of kind of where we're going with the unruggable protocol, which is basically kind of like an Oracle service that needs to solve this using this use case, which is unruggable rentals as built to build this protocol.
That's interesting. I thought it was like a it's an interesting design to have subdomains as also requiring renting. And I didn't anticipate there is this side effect that people can hike the price so that they can take away the subdomains by just hiking it to infinity.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I recently came to know that there was this tax approach where they will tax by you assigning your own price, which you are happy to give up this property, and then the tax there's a like community-based tax rate, so you will be charged in recurring tax given your self-assessment tax self-assessed property price. Have you
I think
looked
this
into
is
that approach?
from Vitalik's ideas that he posted on Twitter. Harbinger tax.
Yeah, Harbinger, yeah, Harbinger tax. Yeah, I just recently come, and I think Vitalik talked about that like a few years ago. It's one of the interesting approach. I couldn't, to me, I'm exercising this idea into putting into context, but realizing that setting the tax rate is a design choice or a problem, and how does the community reach a tax rate that they agree to is an interesting problem. I don't know, like, what's your thought on that?
My thought is that using our protocol extension, so the protocol extension is called subname wrapper, and using the protocol extension, anybody can build their own renewal controllers. These are the things that control the renewal. And so you can build a Harbinger tax model. You can build a fixed ETH price model if you want it to be a little crazy. And you could say you could just 0.001 ETH, and if ETH goes to $100,000, then the price of the domain. But it's all on chain, then no Oracle service. So you can kind of build whatever models you want as these what's called renewal controllers. And the feature of the subname wrapper is that it wraps the renewal controller with the name, and it prevents the owner of the name from accessing that or changing that renewal policy. So I'm hoping that it creates a whole ecosystem of experimentation around the idea of subname renewals.
I see.
And the idea of protecting the namespace, which again, if you think of it as bankless.eth, their namespace is pretty important. They may help to have that a community for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And so these names that are under bankless.eth become very important to have a strategy for protecting the namespace.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that. It's very, very important to find a strategy for control, to make sure that at least the subdomains are unraggable as well. Yeah. So this is exciting. This is opened up a lot of new opportunity, and when you get a chance, I look forward to see the ERC drafts, and then also the demo if you want to. And then people who are on this call, feel free to comment, have questions, or if you like to collaborate, or if you think what you do can depend on, can use what Prim is building, feel free to reach out. Yeah. Yeah, any other questions, comments for Frame?
That's the link to our current demo.
Oh, wow, cool. Let's find you the perfect name. Okay, getting some feedback. That's a good approach. And it seems like you're using Turbo ETH.
We're using Turbo ETH. I love it.
Yep, it's just making it so much easier. Like every hackathon actually should like promote a Turbo ETH, and then I also hope to see I also hope to see competitors with Turbo ETH. Like you just keep building the app so much easier. Yep. Yeah, cool. Look forward to it. I see this is a early demo. Look forward to see the next one when you are ready. Yep. Alrighty. So I think we have all our agenda done today. So I generally like to think of it as a way to kind of put people together in a room. We can have social chat, or if you have any before we have social chat, do you have any technical peer requests, things that you want to share with the community? And then this is recorded, by the way, and then will be shared on YouTube. And then once we turn it off, we can like just grab a cup of coffee and then just briefly chat on whatever else is you're doing without on the record. So yeah, anything you want to share? Nope. Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn off the recording. And so we turn it into the social chat.